Hi everyone and welcome to Club 3 episode 61 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along for the final day of this particular season. The 29-30 season with Derby County in the Premier League has finished. In the end, we finished fourth on the last day of the season. We grabbed that fourth place spot. It was an epic episode, last episode, wasn't it? And we managed to get ourselves European Champions League qualification for next season, which was amazing. So that job has been done, but we've still got one more game to play, and that is against Chelsea in the Europa League Final. We managed to make it all the way through to the Europa League, and there's something that I want to show you about here. If we go and have a look at filtering the competitions and just having a look at the Europa League run that we've had, look at this run. We did not let a goal in all season long in this competition. We played like 15 games or whatever it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 games, sorry. And we didn't let a single goal in to reach the final. It was an amazing run. Our team has been absolutely phenomenal in this competition. And today we get one last game in the final against Premier League winners Chelsea. It's going to be really tricky. But even so, it's going to be something that we can now relax and play with no major pressure on us, because we've already achieved the Champions League spot for next season. And this would be an additional piece of silverware. But we can actually play to our abilities, I hope, today in a calm way, knowing that our season has been so successful already. And we weren't expected to get to the final of this competition, and we've done it amazingly well. So, yeah, let's hope for a good performance. Let's hope we bring that silverware back, absolutely. But ultimately, this is a day to be happy to play, rather than the last episode, which was so nervy. It was ridiculous trying to get into that top 4, having battled for that all season. Anyway, a good day for us to come and have a go. And we're going to do that today. First off, I'm going to tell you just a small amount about the skin that I'm using today, because we're rotating the skins of the game just to see if I can find one that I really like to continue with. This is the TCS 2020 skin by Blues Till I Die 00, I think his name is. And it's brilliant. It's really nice. It's very clear. There's a couple of versions of this out that they worked with. One with Work the Space, one of the big FM YouTubers out there, over 100,000 subscribers. I'm sure you all know about him, but if you don't, go and check him out. But they worked with him on a Work the Space edition, which is a little bit different to this. We might have a look at that one at some point, but this is the standard version of the TCS 2020 skin, and I really like it. It's very nice. You can see even in this top left hand corner, things rotate round, and they've got a few images to add in here and there. The setup of the panels is nice and clear, I think, which is really good. If we go and have a look in our squad view, you can see not an awful lot has changed in terms of the colourings and the setups, and the stars are all the same. A nice simple dark background, so everything's clear. If we go further in and have a look at the player, this is Ivan, one of my central midfielders, and you can see that his attributes are pretty clear. I think I'd personally just take away that yellow, dull that down a little bit so the green pops out even more. But again, that's just a personal preference. Other than that, though, again, the panels here look really, really nice. And there's a decent amount of them without overloading the screen, which is really important, I think. So I really, really like that as well. So it's very nice. I'm really appreciating the work on this particular skin. This is the tactics page. You can see that it's quite clear, a slightly bigger pitch, I think, than some of the others. Some others have some written stuff underneath that I'm not sure is particularly helpful. So this is a bigger pitch to look at with the team on it. There's no substitute bench down the side of it, which I quite like in this particular panel, just to be able to see that as well. But we'll go down here for that. But other than that, everything else is, again, there's not an awful lot that's changed, but it's just very clear, and I like that about this particular setup of this skin. So that's the TCS 2020 skin. There'll be a link to that in the description below from Blues Till I Die 00. So go and check it out if you haven't already. If you're looking for a new one, I think this is a good one to start with. We've got a couple more to go through, but I quite like this one. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below as well. So yeah, that's all done and out the way. Let's focus in on the Europa League Final. One last game of the season, and we've got the opportunity to do something pretty special here if we can get a decent result. So the good thing about the run-in has been that a lot of players have played quite recently in 1 or 2 games here and there, so they're all fairly match fit, which is really positive. A couple of them have got some issues with their match conditioning and stuff, their match sharpness, but other than that, we're doing okay. So it means that I can basically choose the starting 11 that I want to choose. And for one last final time this season, I've gone a little bit more with the experience in a couple of positions than maybe our starting 11 has been recently. But from next season onwards, this starting 11 will change slightly. Harwood, Bellis and Joku are the 2 players that currently play today that will be replaced next season more so by the likes of Batista in defence and Ivan in central midfield, the guy that we just had a look at in terms of his attributes, etc. So we're going for experience today, though, against Chelsea, and those 2 can potentially impact the game off the bench depending on what is happening in the game. So all of that being said, it means that we've got a full squad to pick from. We've got 12 players on the bench in the final, which is really nice also. It gives us freedom to do all sorts of things depending on what happens in the game. The 2 to miss out are Adam Daniels, who's a bit unlucky, but is just not quite up to the standard of some of the other players, and Silas, who, to be honest, isn't particularly unlucky because he just hasn't played very well this season. It's been so disappointing watching him really struggle. He's played 13 games, 15 subs as well, and has got 1 assist for a good central midfielder that last season was really pushing for a first team spot. He just hasn't done it this season, and he's probably going to move on in the summer, so we'll have to check that one out. But those are the 2 players to miss out. But the starting 11 for today is ILM in goal. We've got Bogle at right back, Pellegrini at left back, Romario and Harwood Bellis in central defence, Shoku, Olashenko and Martinez in central midfield, with Alart on the right and Guive on the left, and Pauletta up top, and as I say, pretty much everybody else on the bench. So let's get into today's game, the Europa League Final, and see what happens. So after the magnificent game in the last game of the Premier League season, I just went with the thought that if you pick up from where you left off in the last match, then you'll get your hands on the trophy. That's the hope that I've got, and that's got a reasonably good response. I like this screen, the Team Talk screen, with a couple of additional panels down the left-hand side from the new skin. That's really nice. I did go and have a look at Chelsea just before we go into kick-off. I did go and have a look at their run to the final as well. And whilst we've not conceded a goal all season long in the Europa League, we did draw a couple of games. Chelsea have conceded a few goals here and there, but they haven't lost a game. All the way through the group stages, all the way through all the knockout games, home and away, they didn't lose or draw a single game. They won every single one of them. This is going to be tricky, but I'm feeling in good spirits about it, only because ultimately we've done so well to get here, and I desperately want a piece of silverware. Absolutely I do. But if we don't win it, it won't be totally the end of the world because our season's been so good. I just want us to perform well and be competitive, properly competitive, and see where that takes us. And we're in good form, so let's see how this goes. Chelsea, though, with an early chance down the right-hand side, get the cross in, and a very good block on the defence to clear it away, wasn't it, off that striker's shot at goal. So it was a really good block from one of our defenders. I like this particular screen. It's simple again for the new screen, for the new skin. I like the top part of this this panel here as well. I think this is a really nice skin. Anyway, it's a chance for us off the throw-in down the right-hand side. Bogle eventually gets it into Alart, and then they clear it. And who wins the ball at the top of the pitch for them? It's them, Shenton, who's one of my England internationals. And he brings the ball forward and gets it. Oh, we've gone a goal down. After 28 minutes, they did really well to clear the ball, and it stuck at their forward player, and then they had enough support coming. Look at their support. The cavalry comes charging behind the ball, and we dally a little bit at this point there. We could have blocked the shot maybe. Didn't quite work. And ILM, it goes underneath him, and we go 1-0 down after 28 minutes. And there's the first goal conceded of our entire campaign. And of course, it comes in the final, just when you need a good performance. But hey ho, this is how it's going, so we'll have to do something about that in a little while. I'm happy that we're in the game, but if this one causes a problem, we might have to change our thoughts a little bit, because it's Chelsea down the right-hand side again, pulls it back. And it does cause us a problem. And we've gone 2-0 down, and now we have to do something about it. There's no doubting that at all. So if I just find the right spot, how do I get into... Oh, there they are. They're over this side. That's the thing about the skins. It changes where things are. Anyway, let's see what we can do here. We're going to have to go into the gegenpress, I think, for a little while, just leading up to half-time, and see if we can push ourselves against what Chelsea are offering us. We'll go from positive to attacking and just see if that can make a difference leading into half-time. Ola has picked up a knock, which is a little bit concerning. We'll have to watch him as the next few minutes progresses and see how that looks for him in terms of his conditioning. But we've got Elliott on the bench, so it's not a dreadful thing because he's a good option. But it was a good strike, wasn't it, from Chelsea, really? But ILM, I think on both goals, could have done a little bit better. It went too easily underneath him in the first one, and then he got a hand to it, but it wasn't strong enough in the second one. Is Ola getting better from his knock? He is a little bit, but something that we might have to change in a little while. So 2-0 down at half-time. It's going to be really, really tough to come back from, isn't it? I like this setup. I like the heat maps down the left-hand side. You get a little bit of information here, but it's still clean and concise. But what do we do about this particular performance? So I think we have to go assertive. I'm happy enough that we've tried at least, but it's just not been quite as good as I'd like it to be. So let's try something else in the second half and then try and boost them up a bit. Passionately, I have faith in you to each of the three areas of our team, and see if that helps us to, puff our chests out a little bit and play our game a little bit better. We're going to stick with the gegenpress just for now, and as soon as we go into the second half, we'll use one of the shouts and say, get creative, and just see if we can push forward a little bit and see if we can finally get a couple of opportunities to goal. The only thing I would say about this particular screen is that you lose a little bit of the wording, I think, with the busy background, but that's okay. So here we go with another Chelsea chance, but Bogle intercepts, I think it was, down the right-hand side, but then boots it clear and gives it straight back to them again. There's no subtlety in our play at the moment on that one. And Chelsea come back down the left-hand side again and have a real blast at goal, but it goes wide and high, and we're a little bit fortunate there. I think we're going to have to take Olart off in a second, so we are going to do that. And the time has ticked so quickly, I didn't even realise that it had gone to 70 minutes already, and we are 2-0 down still, so it's time to do something about this. So Guive will come off. I'm going to put Monterese on. We're going to change quite a lot of stuff here. And we are going to take one of these yellow cards off just to see if we can maintain 11 people on the pitch all the way through to the end of the game. And those are the changes we're going to make. But I'm going to have to pause the game again and go into the tactics page just to move it around a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to put Monterese up top, and then we're going to work a slightly disjointed system, but we're going to change from the gegenpress and go route one up to the two strikers and see if we can carve out a chance through that. And then we're going to go in for one last shout and tell them all to push forward, and we're going to change it into an attacking mentality, and see if we can just get something, anything as an opportunity. But the time's ticking by. There's nothing that we can do about it. The time is gone. We're in the 91st minute. There were no highlights. The time flew by in that 20 minutes period of the game. We've got one chance for a consolation goal, and Elliott misses the chance. Left-footed on that far side, puts it round the side of the post, and it's Chelsea's day. It's a disappointing end to a really amazing campaign, but it doesn't take away my positivity about what we've managed to achieve this season. I know it might come across to you that I wasn't that bothered about this final. I really was. I'd have loved to have won the silverware, but ultimately it's been so successful anyway. This was a cherry on top of the cake, but we were against the Premier League champions in a European final, which was amazing to reach. And they were on the day, their big players showed up, and we couldn't quite compete with it just yet. Despite the result, I'm pleased with how you performed. That didn't go down well with the players, but even so, we got to this point. We did as well as we could do. We tried, we pushed at them, we had a couple of half chances. Just wasn't our day. So that ends the current season for Derby County. Chelsea lift the Europa League. We got defeated in the final. Let's go through the news feed a little bit. Praises players for rising to occasion. That's what they did. They rose to the occasion, and we got a little bit suppressed by it, it feels like. How long's the last out for? 3 days. We got some money for it, nearly 4 million, which is great. Another bit of money for television revenues. So it's all coming in, which is so good for moving our club forward. Collective payouts. And there you go. The Europa League review, and we were the runners-up. The biggest overachievers were Norwich to get to the semis. I dispute that slightly, but that's okay. But here endeth the season for Derby County. But that's not quite the end of our season. Our season now moves into international zone, and we go over to our England feed, and we realise that what we've got is a couple of friendlies coming up against USA and Chile before moving into the World Cup. And the World Cup group for us has us with Colombia and Costa Rica. And we've got to see whether we can put on a good showing there. I'm happy with the group. I think we've been given a good group to work with. So I'm hopeful that we'll get through there. And then anything can happen in the knockouts. So join me for the next episode tomorrow at 6:30 for Rolling in the Isles, the international edition. And we're going to spend a couple of episodes with England going through the World Cup campaign and seeing how well we can do with that. I'll introduce you to some of the players that I've got in my squad tomorrow as we begin that campaign in the group stages. I'll go through the friendlies, and then we'll play our game against Colombia and Costa Rica tomorrow. So join me for that. It'll be really interesting for the next few episodes to go through a hopefully successful campaign there. A really disappointing end to the season in terms of the result today, but I'm so proud of what we've done as a club. I think it's been magnificent to get into that top 4 position that we had this season for Derby County in the Premier League, and to get to a European final as well. Didn't work out today, but there we go. We move on to bigger and better things. Join me tomorrow for England, and we'll see how we get on there. So thanks for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button and help me get seen by lots of other people. Till next time though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.